I've got a
That's
massive. I'm
not
pregnant.
bad. It's not really.
Honestly, it's like I'm pregnant. I'll show you. If you want to see, I'll fucking show you. It's honestly like I'm
No.
pregnant. This is holding in. Look at this.
Mine's worse than
No,
that.
it's not. Get the fuck out of it.
Woo! They're pretty similar, actually.
So basically, you sent me a new topic. What do you think about the new player experience? We'd love to hear some feedback on what the biggest hurdles for players getting introduced to the game are. Have any of you, for example, tried to introduce Super Auto Pets to someone, and what was your experience doing so? I have tried. You were probably the first
Yeah.
person.
Well, yeah, how was that for you? That's what I was going to say, because you made it easier for me to understand the game. Then that's how I got into it. 'Cause it was like an hour or so of you telling me what does what,
An hour?
understanding it. I think it was an hour or so, wasn't
Bloody
it?
hell. Maybe it was.
Probably the longest hour of your life.
What I think we probably did was just spoke through the game. It's hard though because you can't do that with everyone.
Yeah.
I've tried to introduce the game to two people.
And how did that go?
So one was my girlfriend,
Yeah.
but then the other person, one of our mutual friends, it took me 3 times before he actually played it properly. But we met up and I showed it to him and I said, "This is what you do." I showed him a quick briefly and I was like, "Oh, you should download it." And he did download it, but he went in, he played. He said, "Yeah, I don't really get it." While I met him, he might have played like 2 games, then just didn't play it again. Then it took the third time me to bring it up. I just showed him a few rounds, gave him a few ideas of some combos.
I think that's the thing. I think that's what kind of got me. You showing me how to do it as well, not
Yeah,
just telling me what does, like what the things do. You showing me what it does and me seeing it in action.
I actually showed him that, and then I thought, it's going to be the same like last time. He won't play it. But
Yeah.
then 2 days later, 3 days later, he texted me saying, "Oh, I can't stop playing this game. I've been playing it over and
Yeah.
over. I just want to get a goddamn win." And I do think that after he got that win, I don't think he's played it as much.
The thing is, like for me, I've always had to do the campaign, and I think this is probably something maybe SAP should have, where you have like a story mode. You make a team, but you always face the same team, and it always does the same things on every single turn, so it never changes. But for someone new coming in, you're thinking, oh, how can I beat this team then? So the next time you play it, you're like, oh, I could use this. This could be good. And then you start to get those synergies. And then eventually you'll beat that team and you'll get that achievement or whatever of beating that team.
Well, I think something like that, or something like a training mode. I mean, even if
But
it just showed you ideas of synergies and having things
yeah,
like,
but I think that's so like specific. I feel if you give the opportunity to the player to kind of play with things, that's when they learn. I feel like that's when I've learned the most. Doing it myself and going, oh, I could actually do that instead. I could move that there, or I could put this animal in, and that's going to help me.
I agree completely, but I also think the game already lets you do that.
But this would be like a more simpler version where it would always be the same team. It would always make the same team, and you've got to go up against it.
So would it give you the same shop each time, the same exact items and animals? So
No,
every person gets the same.
no. It would be like a normal sort of arena where it would change it all the time.
I disagree. Even if you don't tell them, keep the same animals in the shop so that every new player has the same experience. I think what you're saying would be good for a challenge mode, which is slightly after that, where you're like in between
Mm.
like playing online and the very new player. But I think a very new player, if you give them like the five,
So do you
let's say
think like
you,
certain animals that always come up or something? So
yeah,
you're
just for
limited to
like
the amount of animals.
even if it's just the first 3 lessons. But I do think that's the hard part for a lot of people is that when you first start, think about it like this: when you first start in pack one, how many animals is there? There's like, let's just say roughly there's 10. There's roughly 10 per tier, right? So right, 60 animals, and I think that's just overwhelming for some people.
Maybe like instead of like being told what to do, maybe there's a balance here where you could probably have a tip button, like tips, and it would tell you put this here or whatever.
Yeah, but would that be in an online mode or in a tutorial? In like in sort of.
The tutorial.
But if you
The
think
main
about
thing
it,
probably should have messages.
it should have messages. It should have. And if you think about it, that is what I provided.
Mm.
Even though you can read what the animal does, without the context of the game, it's really hard. Like, someone might be like, see the elephant and be like, well, I don't really know what to do with that. a simple tutorial mode, I think, where it just guides the player along with little prompts here and there, and maybe a reduced. Well, yeah, like you said, the same
Crumbs. Little breadcrumbs
little
scattered
breadcrumbs
here and there.
and the same. So every
Yeah.
player would have
So
the same experience with the tutorial.
yeah.